Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Hosted by Pastor Lester Lewis, co-host Charlize Wilkerson and Leroy Carey. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
Recovery is an LGBT issue. Many of the people that we know that struggle with identity self-medicate, and they find substances that are readily handy in communities that I live in.
Today on the Ask the Messengers TV show, our addiction and recovery within the LGBTQ community continues, with a few real people sharing their real stories about their personal journeys while addicted and how their lives are now that they are no longer using drugs or alcohol.
Hey guys, I'm Epic, and my drug of choice is crack cocaine.
My drug of choice is meth.
My drug of choice was crack cocaine, alcohol, anything that I could get high off of.
I recovered from crack cocaine.
I started drinking at a very early age. I started using marijuana at a very early age. And a lot of that was the denial of my sexuality.
The only drug of choice that I knew growing up was weed and cocaine. I know my mom told me never do weed. And I knew weed, cocaine, and alcohol, because alcohol is a drug, for those of you guys who do not know. And so I knew I didn't want to do alcohol because I seen how they made people in downtown act and look, you know. And I had no interest in weed. And, you know, and coke made you feel a little bougie, so I don't know, you know what I mean? But I never knew about crack. I never knew about heroin. I never knew what a crackhead was. And when I got to the sex party, you know, like I said, he was fixing up the substance, you know, then, you know, I've learned that, you know, it was freebase. And so I asked him, you know, after months going in and out of his, you know, condo, whatever, one particular night, you know, I asked him, like, do you mind if I hit that? You know what I mean? Like, can I have some of your cigarette? And he was like, you know, if you hit this, you know what I mean, this is the rest of your life. And still, I just knew it as freebase. I did not know what freebase was. I was just oblivious to it, you know. And that's when I started the experience.
When I first started using it, I used to visit some friends here in Atlanta. They asked me that I want to try, and I was really skeptical about it because I was really judgmental when it came to using this drug. I was like, okay, I'm not going to associate myself with anybody who uses, but somewhere down the road, I found myself using.
Was meth your only drug?
No, I smoke weed often.
So, okay, you said you smoke weed often.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it about the weed often that was different from meth?
Weed often came before the meth. It was more of me just smoking with friends here and there. And once I found other friends, you know, the meth came along.
I was 13 years old when I first picked up. My father was an alcoholic, and my family, well, my father, with him being an alcoholic and being around him, you know, alcohol was prevalent somewhat. But sneaking and doing it, that was how I got a hold of alcohol at an early age. The next thing I tried was marijuana. Marijuana was second choice of drug. And later on at 17, 18 years old, snorting coke.
I had a 20-year addiction. My addiction was different because through my drug use, I didn't do bad things to people to get drugs. I've always worked. I've always had a roof over my head. I always had food. My philosophy for me in my addiction was, if I don't have the money to buy it, then I won't have it. And or if my friends weren't giving it to me. So I didn't steal things from people and do all those. I never did any of those things.
Growing up as a kid, I always knew, and this is a common story with us, I always knew that I was different, but I didn't know how to identify that. And then growing up and hearing terms like fag and sissy like that. Those things, those terms made me realize that, I can't be a part of the larger society. And so I have to do something to fit in. It started for me smoking weed. And then when I started going to the bars early as a result of that. I was in the bars at 16 years old. And then that's when my drinking progressed.
Sometimes it's really hard to feel like you are in the addiction, because in the LGBT lifestyle, getting high is just a norm. It is what it is. It's so high. And I felt like, just the euphoria, or just driving down the hill on the scooter, I felt like I was invisible. Like, I forgot that I was human. I forgot that I was on a scooter. I literally felt like I was just the wind. And it was not too long for me to check in with reality. And how I checked in was, I got hit by a car. And I got hit by a car, the car stopped, and I got ran over and drugged. And when that happened, like, I'm an addict. I'm so grateful for knowing that I have a disease of addiction, And so when I got hit by a car, I was on the ground, I couldn't move, and this nurse came and she was like, me and my husband were out on date night, and I saw what happened. She said, "Sweetie, don't move, like, don't move. Like, this was in news. Like, they thought I was dead. I don't know what was going on. I felt like I had an out-of-body experience, like, for real. I felt like when I got hit by a car, I felt like I left my body, and I came back when I just laid there in pain and suffering. And she was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And when I say that I'm an addict, I'm an addict, And the first thing I told her, instead of saying, "No, I'm not okay," I said, "Excuse me, I have like a white substance, can you like look for it?" She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, it's in a contact container." And she said, I don't, I said, "Please find that, please." And then inside of that contact container was crack.
Stay tuned for more of Ask the Messengers.
Underage drinking is responsible for more than 4,300 deaths of youth annually. DWIHN, along with its provider partners, strive to educate young people on the deadly dangers of alcohol use and abuse. We teach youth about the dangers of drinking, especially when driving. If you are looking for resources to share with your loved one, give the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network a call, 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help.
If you or someone you know is battling with any type of cancer, you need to read the book by Laverne Moore Slaughter, God Encounters Are Real. In her book, she tells how through prayer and faith, God healed her and set her free from stomach cancer. For more information and to get your copy, visit www.encountersarereal.net.
I'm Artesia Washington, and I'd like to welcome you to Irvine Head Injury, where restoring you to your previous level of functioning is our goal. We offer services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language pathology, aquatic therapy, massage therapy, and counseling. An automobile accident is an unfortunate event. If you feel that you or a loved one can benefit from our services, you can be reached at 248-415-2500. We look forward to hearing from you.
Are you struggling with an addiction to drugs and alcohol? Are you torn with which way to go to get better? Look no further. Pure Recovery Substance Treatment Centers are here to help. Pure Recovery offers non-judgmental support for men who are finding their way to recovery. With several locations within Wayne County, one of them could be just right for you. Contact Pure Recovery today through the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network's 24-hour helpline, 800-241-4949.
I am Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer, informing you that the Wayne County Treasurer's Office is now again open to the public. To adhere to social distancing guidelines, visits to the office must be by appointment only. To make an appointment, visit the Treasurer's Office website at treasurer.waynecounty.com. and for the safety of everyone, a face covering is required. Even though we are not foreclosing on any properties in 2020, I encourage taxpayers to continue making payments to avoid foreclosure in the future. This can be done online at treasurer.waynecounty.com, by visiting a DivDat kiosk located near you, by using the Wayne County mobile app, by phone, or by mailing payments to the office. If you need to visit our office, you can set up an appointment on our website, where you can also obtain kiosk locations and other valuable information. You can email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990 to set up an appointment or for further assistance. We look forward to helping you.
Meth was more of a social drug for me, meaning I was put into a community where I felt more accepted. Even being in the gay community, it was still hard for me to be around other people, to socialize with them, to go out and do things with them. When I started using it was like, okay, hey, I found this group of people that's willing to do a lot. I didn't really actually just have to have sex with them. I can go out and just sit down and have a whole conversation.
My using, it put a strain on my family, you know, especially my mother. She was a single parent. And at the age of 13, when she found out some things about me, I think that's why our relationship began to get strained, and I began to kind of rebel. And so, yeah, my homosexuality, yeah. And I began to rebel behind that, and because she wasn't accepting it. And so I think that's where a lot of the drugs, the alcohol and the drugs came in, you know, because of the hurt and the pain that I wasn't being accepted from my parent.
The cycle of being in that life, rock bottom, hitting rock bottom. I hit rock bottom 3 separate times before I decided that this was enough for me. I lost houses and lost jobs due to, you know, that rock bottom. Somebody actually tried to two people actually tried to prostitute me out. For me, the last part of my addiction was a lot of my family members, and we would do drugs together. And my nephew had a son that he was taking care of, and at a point early in his life, 3 or 4, he decided he was gonna quit, and that was my road dog, my buddy. And I kept on going with the situation, but at the same time, I was asking God to release me from this, because it's a 20-year addiction, and I actually thought in my head that I would do crack for the rest of my life.
I went into the military at 21, and my drinking and my drug use just skyrocketed. Wow. I did a lot of drinking, came home and still had that issue of trying to fit in within the LGBT community. I had done a lot of traveling, I had been around the world, and I came home and I tried to connect with the people that I connected with before I left, and I just didn't fit in there anymore. I had done a lot and I just didn't fit in there anymore. So needless to say, everything just increased. I did a lot of things that I'm not too proud about as a result of my drug use, to get drugs and under the influence of drugs. But I finally got to a point where I realized that I couldn't take it anymore.
How can equality for LGBTQ people help stop addiction? The truth is, persons who identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender are statistically more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol than their heterosexual counterparts. According to a recent report from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, sexual minorities are more than twice as likely as heterosexual adults to have used an illicit drug in the last year. And the US Census Bureau found that a higher percentage of LGBT adults between the ages of 18 and 64 reported binge drinking in the last year and initiated alcohol consumption earlier than their heterosexual counterparts.
We'll be right back with more of Ask the Messengers.
I am Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer, informing you that the Wayne County Treasurer's Office is now again open to the public. To adhere to social distancing guidelines, visits to the office must be by appointment only. To make an appointment, visit the Treasurer's Office website at treasurer.waynecounty.com. and for the safety of everyone, a face covering is required. Even though we are not foreclosing on any properties in 2020, I encourage taxpayers to continue making payments to avoid foreclosure in the future. This can be done online at treasurer.waynecounty.com, by visiting a DivDat kiosk located near you, by using the Wayne County mobile app, by phone, or by mailing payments to the office. If you need to visit our office, you can set up an appointment on our website, where you can also obtain kiosk locations and other valuable information. You can email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990 to set up an appointment or for further assistance. We look forward to helping you.
Are you struggling with an addiction to drugs and alcohol? Are you torn with which way to go to get better? Look no further. Pure Recovery Substance Treatment Centers are here to help. Pure Recovery offers non-judgmental support for men who are finding their way to recovery. With several locations within Wayne County, one of them could be just right for you. Contact Pure Recovery today through the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network's 24-hour helpline, 800-241-4949.
I think addiction is ego-based, and I think when we get out of sync with our true self and our ego begins to take the wheel, I think that's when we get into patterns of addiction. I think that's when we get a little lost. When something is happening that it turns into a coping mechanism, or everyone has their own story of how and why they got addicted, but I find that there's something more there that's not being addressed. And I think with the shame that comes with who we are as humans and with our sexuality, I know a lot of people, both straight, gay, men and women, who are still having such a struggle of just being themselves, actually being honest with themselves and, saying yes to this and no to that. And I think when you are trying to navigate this big life with all the social pressures and family pressures and whatnot, you can easily slip into an addictive behavior. And I think that's all based out of fear, and it's just really the ego run amok.
So I like to draw. I journal. And so those are some of the simple things that that I could grab into. We live in a social media society, and when I say that, we have access to cell phones these days. So I call my sponsor. I use my network, and my net does work. I attend meetings. I find myself not just being bored or complaining anymore, but finding my way into conventions.
There was actually plenty of times where I wanted to just give up on it, but I still found myself using because I wanted to. Using because I felt like nobody actually cared enough to want me to stop. I had to care enough for me to want to stop. So I was just gonna go do it because I didn't care enough for me to want to stop. A couple months back, when I was living in South Carolina, when I first met my boyfriend, we would use together, and we got to a point where I almost lost him. And I was scared, and I didn't know what to do.
What do you mean by lost him? Like breaking up, or lost him in an addiction situation?
Lost him in an addiction, like he chose the drug over me, and it hurt me. And then I realized, okay, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to make a few changes because we're both dealing with this abandonment issue, and if I lose you, I don't have anything else, and I don't know what to do. At that point, it was like he would do things to purposely hurt me. He would cheat on me, or, I told him I wouldn't care about it, or I wouldn't care. Whatever he did, he still did it. At that point, I broke it off. And then I felt really alone, like extremely alone. Like I didn't have anybody behind me. My mom was way out in South Carolina. The rest of my family was back in Augusta. What do I have here? I'm here in Atlanta by myself. No family, no nothing. I decided to seek out some type of help, because if I didn't, that was going to be it.
In 2007, I just started getting sick all of a sudden, and I asked my god sister to take me to one of the hospitals here in the city, and she took me to the hospital, and they told her it's a good thing that she brought me because I was about 2 hours from my body organ shutting down. So I got real sick, and I was about to die. And so I felt real sick, and I realized then that something was going on, and I really needed some help. You know, I had got to the point where alcohol and drugs were not satisfying me. I wasn't getting high no more. I mean, I wasn't getting drunk, or I wasn't getting high, and I was just putting it in my system. It began to poison my system. So I got to the point after being in rehab a couple of days, I finally woke up and said, I need to do something. I just can't continue to live like this. You know, I can't, I'm almost died. So the next time, you know, death is imminent, you know, behind me using my drugs and going out and doing that.
For years now, it has been increasingly acknowledged that the incidence of substance abuse and addiction is higher among people who self-identify as homosexual, bisexual, transgendered, or somewhere else on the gender or sexuality spectrum. The issues that stem from this can be compounded by the fact that members of the LGBTQ community have historically had challenges in getting the health care they need without judgment or bias, including in the area of substance abuse and addiction treatment. However, over the course of the last few decades, there has been a shift in perceptions and attitudes toward people who identify as LGBTQ, which have made it easier to get the health treatment they need. LGBTQ-friendly addiction treatment centers have changed throughout the U.S., with more facilities offering programs specifically to help these individuals recover from addiction.
When we come back, more addiction and recovery within the LGBTQ community continues.
More than 2.5 million Americans are addicted to opioids. The addiction is sometimes developed through the improper use of prescription painkillers. Using prescribed medication in ways or amounts not intended by a doctor is very dangerous. So it's important that unused prescriptions are properly disposed of. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, or for more information about prevention, treatment, and recovery services, or how to properly dispose of medication, contact the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, 24/7 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help.
Hi, my name is Brenda Owens. I work at Greenfield Hair Collection, and I love doing hair. I've been doing it for almost 30 years now, actually. And I do a little bit of everything. This style right here is a pin curl. This is my weekly client, Lenise, short and sassy. She just got a fresh haircut last week. The name of the salon is Greenfield Hair Collection. We're located on Greenfield between Outer Drive and Curtis. I'm on the second level. My name is Brenda. My phone number is 313-729-8194. Give me a call. I love what I do.
In the LGBT community, with addiction, honey, we are drugged. And when I say we are drugged, we drag ourselves. You know, like most of us has lived our life very oppressed and depressed. So when we get into addiction, we find ourselves more oppressed deeper and more depressed deeper. And it's like there's no escape. You know, we create these illusions like everything gonna be okay. We find ourselves in cliques so that we can suppress the reality of what's really going on. So when we find these cliques, we can tell ourselves that it's okay. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And the reality is, it is not what it is. You know, it don't have to be like that. For me, I associated my addiction using crack cocaine with sex. You know, I'm not sure if I'm addicted to crack, or I'm not sure if I'm addicted to sex. You know, like I said, at a young age, I was molested, you know, then I graduated from being molested, then I started prostituting. Then I started manipulating men, you know, like I said, I shared about the sugar daddy experience. And I enjoy the lifestyle of LGBT. And my definition, you know, the lifestyle may be different for you than it is for me. Now, what the lifestyle looked like for me was drugs, sex, and rock and roll, you know, and literally that's what it was for me. And I like the oohs and the ahs. I like, hey, what's up, sexy? Hey, what's up, thickness? I love that. And I love all the lights, the cameras, the action, like the bling. I love the nightlife, you know what I mean? And I'm not sure if that's what I'm addicted to.
My life has taken a very spiritual change. I get up in the morning, I pray, I meditate. I have a great deal of acceptance within my community and my circle. The hardest part about that is dealing with the little voice on my shoulder that says, you're still just not enough, you know? And learning how, every day I learn how to deal with that voice that tells me I don't fit in and that I'm still not enough.
It is essential that a person who identifies as LGBTQ and who is ready to enter substance abuse treatment finds a program with experience treating those in the LGBTQ community. By knowing what to look for, LGBTQ individuals can find the right treatment center to get them on the path to recovery.
Won't you help us to do exactly what our motto is, and that is to help save lives? Won't you send a generous donation to the information there on the screen? We would love to have you as part of our partnership to help save lives. You may not be able to go out in the street, you may not be able to come here to the show, but you can send your donation that helps us save lives.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Ask the Messengers TV show. Addiction is real, but recovery is possible. And it's stories like the ones that you heard today that help us to understand that recovery is possible. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Ask the Messengers TV show. So what keeps you in recovery?
What keeps me in recovery? Wanting to live. It's real simple. Just wanting to live and enjoying things and recovery, such as, where I'm at now tonight. Enjoying myself and being around my friends and meeting new friends and giving back, getting back into service work, giving back and letting other people know that they too can recover. It's a possibility. I don't care how many times you tried. I've tried so many times that I can't even count the failures that I had in trying to recover and trying to stay clean. But eventually I got it. And that's what can happen. Eventually they can get it.
Realized I ended up in a situation where I became homeless. I'm still dealing with that situation. So I realized in order for me to get my life back in order, I needed to stop using again.